Hey everyone, Wade Paterson here with 20 questions, another 20 questions interview, our first Skype interview, which is really exciting, featuring Heidi, which many Steemians know as HeidiTravels. Heidi, how are you doing today?
Doing great, Wade. Thanks for doing this interview. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. I'm really looking forward to it because actually Heidi's interview, the original 20 questions, is what started the whole interview series. And Heidi, looking back to those days in 2016 when we first joined Steemit, what do you remember about that? What brought you to the platform, and what do you remember your experience being initially?
Yeah, so the first time I heard about Steemit was actually from a YouTube video made by Trayvon James. I don't know if you guys remember him. He got kind of caught up in that BitConnect thing. But anyways, he just mentioned this social media platform. You could like make some money by like posting things that you would normally post on like Reddit or Facebook or something. So I checked it out, and I remember the very first post I saw was, I can't remember who it was by, but it was like a recipe for grilled pineapple. And it made like $5 or something, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love cooking. I have so many recipes. I could totally do this. And like, I think I did like my introductory post, and then I did like a post for like a Greek style potatoes or something, and it made like 15 cents. And I'm like, oh, okay. and then, and then like at around that time, I actually like recently started traveling. And so I'd been journaling and, you know, all these like new experiences and kind of inspirational feeling. So I had all this material, so I just started posting it on Steemit. And I remember like I didn't think it was real. Like that was like what I was earning was like the real money. And then it started a fire in me, I think, to start blogging more and making that a priority. So yeah, that was pretty
That's
much my
awesome.
first experience with Steemit. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, and looking back to some of those posts, I mean, in those early days, it wasn't out of the question for some of the more popular bloggers to be earning thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars on posts.
Yeah.
Do you miss those days, or was that just never a sustainable thing in your mind?
Oh, of course I miss it, but I mean it was it was like a life changing. I mean, it only lasted for what, like a month maybe, but it was enough for me to earn you know, like a savings or give me a investment kind of foundation that I never had before. So it was definitely life changing. And yeah, I mean, looking back now, it probably wasn't very sustainable, like for the platform itself, but it was really cool being a part of like in like that wave of like just the first people on Steemit, and like getting this kind of exposure that is really hard to break through if you're trying to do blogging any other way, like on your own website or something. It's a pretty saturated market. So yeah, it was cool to experience like the beginning of a website that turned into something much bigger.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I always wonder now for the people who have just joined Steemit in the last 6 months or so, what they think if they go back to those posts and see they're like, what the heck? It was worth $10,000 or
Yeah.
something like that. But it was a unique time. So, which gets back to the first time I reached out to you, which, see, to me, this was a really pivotal moment because I recall sending you a Snapchat video and kind of explaining what I was hoping to do with this 20 questions platform. And had you shut down that request, there's a good chance 20 questions would have never happened. I'm curious, what do you remember about that? And were you kind of like, who is this? What's going on? Or did you like the idea? What was your thoughts?
Well, first I was like, wow, someone wants to interview me. That's awesome. Like, you know, it was like, I didn't know I was like an interesting person, you know, for someone to want to do that. So I thought it was really cool. And like, just to see like how people on the platform could like kind of collaborate and make content together that would be interesting for other users. It was pretty cool. Yeah, I thought it was exciting. It was like a huge compliment to me. So of course I wanted to, yeah, get interviewed. That was like, I think that was like the first interview I'd ever had. So, so yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, it was the first for both.
Very cool. And your blog has been interesting because it's definitely evolved over the last 2 years. I mean, what started as, like you said, I mean, really initially perhaps recipes, and then you found this travel niche, which is really what took off. I mean, your Steemit blog is named after that, HeidiTravels. And then there was a brief stint with some beauty tips and things like that, and then really getting into the heavy focus on crypto, which has been kind of the longest sustainability. What has influenced those decisions, and how do you think you've arrived now at kind of this niche of providing crypto information for everybody?
Well, yeah, I guess it's a mixture of like my own interests and then trying to kind of, appeal to the people who are viewing my blog. Of course, I want to write and produce content that is going to be interesting. It's going to get people's attention. So I do have a website that's all about like natural eating and like healthy natural skincare and like essential oils and that. So I was kind of dipping into that material as well. And then I realized that like Steemit is a place where all these people, they heard about it, they can make money. It's the thing called cryptocurrency. They don't necessarily know how that works. So I kind of saw it as like a perfect place to help people understand what cryptocurrency is and like what the bigger picture is that Steemit is a part of ultimately. And so yeah, like I've always kind of been interested in like educating people about things, and so for me, cryptocurrency was becoming like an increasingly more important aspect of my life, something that I was like increasingly more interested in. And so I didn't mind dedicating my time to learning more things about it in order to help, spread the crypto knowledge. So yeah, that's essentially how that all turned out.
Awesome, very cool. And the cool thing about that too is that you're like anything that you have a question about or you're interested in, you'd probably research on your own anyways. And so, yeah, you might as well provide that knowledge to people as well. In our earlier email conversation, you described yourself as a citizen of the world. So have you done quite a bit of traveling in the last couple of years, or I understand you're stationed in Portugal right now. Is that where you spend most of your time?
Yeah, I'm actually in Portugal for like 6 months out of the year. So that's where I spend majority of my time. And then like for the past, I only started traveling the first time I left the country was in January 2015, and did a couple trips. Always had to come home, make more money. That was before Steemit, and then Steemit happened, and it all of a sudden allowed me to earn money without needing to be in any one location. So that like shifted my view of how life could work. So yeah. Since then I've kind of, I'm always looking for places I enjoy the ocean, so anywhere near the ocean, and that's pretty affordable to live, and there are places like that. So I've been kind of shifting around like Bali a lot. I love South Africa, but unfortunately that's getting kind of hairy, so I'm hoping to, be able to visit there a few more times at least, and then Portugal. So yeah, like I kind of have a little circuit now that I kind of do my stops, but yeah, so that's pretty much how that goes.
That's awesome. And you've been a regular attendee of SteemFest as well. First off, are you planning to go to SteemFest 3? And secondly, why is it that you find it important, I guess, to get to these gatherings of Steemians?
Yes, I will be at SteemFest 3. And I haven't bought my ticket yet, but I know I'm going to go. So I think it's cool to like meet with people in person. It's great that you can connect with people online and like with all these different kind of commonalities, but to meet in person is a really great way to like solidify a relationship and just bring it home, like make it real, see a face, have inside jokes and all this stuff. And SteemFest 2 was like a blast for me because a lot of the people who were there from SteemFest 1 were there, and like it was kind of like a reunion at that point, and we were having a whole bunch of fun with like they had this, it was like a photo booth, but it was for gifts, and oh my gosh, like we were dying of laughter doing that. But it was really cool. And then especially it was interesting now, like it's going to be interesting for me now, like, cause SteemFest 1, like I had a presentation, I did a speech or whatever, and then SteemFest 2 I wasn't, which I enjoyed because I was more of like a spectator and just trying to take everything in. And then like this next third one, I'm sure I'm going to be a little bit more in the background, like no one's going to know who I am, so that'll be kind of cool to be like,
people will know who you are.
An anonymous person, yeah. But it's cool, yeah. I enjoy it. I'm glad that they have these meetups to kind of bring it home. Like it is real. Like there are real people participating on this platform, and it's a social platform. So be social, it's good. And then it encourages people, to check out a new country, and so it ties into that whole checking out new locations, meeting new people, all inspired by cryptocurrency and Steemit. So it's pretty cool. It's a good time.
Awesome. And I find it super interesting that you mentioned that because I've totally found that as well is, there's the Steemians from the early days who kind of their blogs became popular very early on, but there's almost been this new wave of Steemians in the last year people who are just crushing it on the platform, who have really taken it. And yeah, I feel that way too. I'm like, oh, all these new people are coming, which is awesome. I think that's exactly what the platform needs, but it's cool to see that evolution happen. Quick question about kind of what's in the future for you and what your blog, what we can expect. Is it still going to be kind of a focus on the crypto tips and different elements of that, kind of like words from Satoshi, that type of thing, or can we expect something different going forward?
I definitely want to get more in touch with the travel blog thing. I definitely miss doing that, and like I love that like my posts are on the blockchain, so it's there forever, so I can always go back and revisit, my thoughts at the time and photos and things like that. So probably going to incorporate a little bit more traveling things. I think it's good to focus on the beginnings of Bitcoin and the people who helped. It's good to get back to the roots. So I'm definitely going to continue to focus on things like this and like the educational aspect rather than trying to find the next get rich quick kind of coin thing. So yeah, right. Continuing on this cryptocurrency thing, I think it's something that is going to be increasingly more important for people to know about. And yeah, getting back to traveling, I'd enjoy that. So maybe I'll do some travel videos. I've done a few, but I could do more, definitely.
Awesome. And what do you think about kind of the current state of Steemit, where it's at right now in terms of, what's working and what's not, what needs to be fixed?
Well, one thing I definitely noticed a lot this year was like a lot of bots, which was kind of disheartening. Like a lot of the comments on my posts were just like really clearly bots. So it was like, I want to engage, but I know that they're not real people. So it's like, it's a little bit discouraging. But lately, I think it's gotten a little bit better. I don't know. I haven't done much reading to see if like they did anything to kind of combat that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's great that Steemit is a a social media type platform. It's bringing people together and kind of showing your appreciation for people by allocating some money. It doesn't come directly from you, but you can show your appreciation and think that they deserve, some money or whatever, so you can give them an upvote. I think that's great. One thing that I know that a lot of people too have been kind of hoping for or waiting for is kind of like a personalization kind of aspect to cryptocurrency or to Steemit, like having groups or being able to kind of customize your experience. Yeah, I know that they're doing like these smart media tokens, or they were, so that's cool. Like trying to give people more options for monetizing their content and their websites and things. But I think it's good to focus on Steemit too and keep it evolving, keep it fresh, and try to address these issues. Because like you said, there are new people coming in and like dominating the space. That's great, like bringing in fresh new content, new waves of people, but it's important to kind of keep them there too. So yeah, just continuing to try and improve the platform and like the user experience. Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree with that. All right, since this is all about 20 questions and we're trying to stay on that theme, I don't know if it's going to be exactly 20 questions today, but I got to throw some rapid fire questions at you. So okay. Feel free to answer these as short or as long as you want, but they're quicker questions. So what is your biggest pet peeve, that bugs you?
It's I don't know why. It's like an instant thing. If I hear someone like slurping, like eating really loudly, I don't know what it is. It's just like I have to like walk away or something or put my headphones in. I don't know. I can't stand that noise.
Yeah, that is disgusting for sure. Most interesting city you visited?
That's a good one. It's a toss-up between. I went to Singapore for like a day recently. That was super interesting. It's like a super clean city. I ended up, my hotel was in the red light district. Didn't know that until I got into an Uber on the way to the airport, and he's like, well, that's a funny neighborhood. I'm like, what? and then it's like interesting, like their laws with littering and things. It's interesting. And also like Cape Town, like that's just got like the epic natural beauty, really nice people, but at the same time, it's like this really kind of a dark, politically messy situation. So that one's definitely very interesting. Yeah.
Right. One cryptocurrency that interests you especially right now or that you're excited about?
So I can't name like, I'm not gonna name like one, but I'm gonna say anything to do with like decentralized exchanges, I think is going to be something that we should all take advantage of and try and encourage. So yeah, like BlockNet, Aurora DAO, BISC, 0x, like these things, like yeah, anything to do with the decentralized exchanges, I'm all about that.
Perfect. Favorite song?
Oh, okay. So I'm not particularly like a fan of like country music, but for whatever reason, when I hear that song "Wagon Wheel," I just have to turn it up like as loud as I can, and I hope that the radio plays it like 3 times in a row. So
Yes.
that's pretty much yeah. I'd say that's one of my favorite songs.
Awesome. And last question on the rapid fire series. Who would you play if you had a movie made about you, a movie dedicated about your life? Who would be the actress who would play you?
That's well. I mean, it's cool that I'm doing the 20 questions, but I'm not sure I'm gonna get on that level of a movie. But I mean, I'd say maybe like Jennifer Lawrence, just because I think she's, like with Hunger Games and the bow and arrow. That's kind of cool. So maybe that one. I don't know. It'd be cool if she did a video about cryptocurrencies. Then we know we hit mass adoption. So.
Yeah. That's awesome. Good answers.
Yeah.
And very, very last question I have for you, and kind of a random one again, but I remember I looked back from our original interview, and the last question I had asked you was, what's one interesting thing most people wouldn't know about you? And you said that you would kick their ass in Call of Duty. So is Heidi a gamer, or
I was. Unfortunately, now with like traveling all this so much, I can't lug around an Xbox with me.
Right.
But like I have some games on my phone that I like to play. It's probably a little bit of a distraction, But yeah, I was. I definitely love playing Call of Duty. Yeah, it's a good thing I didn't wear the headphones, so like all of my insults and curse words were unheard.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I want to throw out one more question here. Maybe just to people who are new on the platform, new on Steemit. I mean, you're an example of someone who not only came early, had success, but has stuck around and still blogs 2 years later, which is impressive. There's not maybe a lot of people who had that experience from start to finish. What's some advice that you'd give them, or just some overall thoughts? Because probably better than anybody how there's ups and downs on the platform. Sometimes you're getting the upvote, sometimes you're not. What advice would you give them?
That's a good question. I think it's good to realize your morals, not your morals, but like what you believe in, what you want to continue to like provide for people, regardless of what's happening with like the money situation. Same thing with Bitcoin. People are calling Bitcoin dead. Oh, and then the price goes up. Suddenly everyone wants it. It's like, like the core values of like Steemit too. It's like a social media platform. That's why I went to it. I could see that as being, we're seeing it now too with like Twitter and all the censorship crap. It's like the social media platform on a blockchain that's uncensorable for the most part is something that it's good to have some forward thinking and know that it's going to be highs and lows, but like to realize what's going to be important and to like follow what you believe no matter what. So yeah, like it's you got to remind yourself why you started and what's really important to you. Like for me, it's important to like just share what I've learned and like share your opinions, because it's good to have a dialogue with people about it, and that's always something that is going to be valuable for people. So yeah, so like that's why I kept doing this with Steem. I know there's like posts I was getting like 15 cents, and I've read so many like Steemit posts that are so good, and they're like from a year ago, and they made like 15 cents, and I would love just to give them like a 100% upvote, even though it's only worth like $2 now or something. But it's like it's good just to keep producing, just for the good of like this open source knowledge. Just like share your knowledge so other people can be inspired and take that and run with it, and who knows what that would lead to. So yeah, it's kind of like a butterfly effect, right? Like you smile at someone on the subway, it changes their day, and then everyone else has a good day too. So yeah.
100%. I think that's great advice to end it on. Heidi, thanks so much for joining me today for this sort of version of 20 questions. I appreciate it.
Yeah, me too. I had a great time. Thanks again.